Welcome to RawPodcast. My name is Scott Harrigan. Happy Valentine's Day, February 14th. Today, however, I have the pleasure of being with the two hottest women on Sooke, Ellen Connor. Ellen, how are you doing, my dear?
I'm good.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Be my Valentine.
I absolutely will be your Valentine. And my co-host, Chris Shell, where have you been?
Well, you know,
fell
out of love.
In love, out of love?
Out of love.
What are you today?
I'm anti-Valentine.
You're anti?
Yeah, I don't need a Valentine.
Oh, wow.
Just love yourself.
I just love myself.
Okay, and there'll be no more is there no more protesting, anti-Valentines? And is there any border closings coming up that we should know about?
I thought about it.
Yeah?
I thought about starting, a border closure.
And how long before you fall back into love?
I think we're going to wait a while.
Is this one? Yeah, this one.
We're taking a hiatus.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, nice little segue, taking a hit from relationships
I figured
because...
Valentine's Day, I needed to divulge where I've been,
Nah, no. But we're going to talk some boxing, folks.
Absolutely.
So I've known Ellen for a while. And your daughter, I want to first talk about... Because that's when we first met. Didn't I do a story or something?
Yes, you did.
Yeah. And refresh me. What was that again?
So that was when Dan was coaching her, Dan Marzocco.
Yeah, Dan.
And
yeah.
it was just a feature that actually she was getting ready to go to San Francisco to an all-female card.
Oh.
I think that's what it was.
Was one of her first bigger fight or first
it
for
was an
something?
international fight.
Yeah.
So it was down in, I think that's what we were doing. Or maybe she just got back. I can't remember. But yeah, 27 fights later, she's 16 years old. And she is actually just she's toying with the idea of hanging up her gloves because she wants to focus on school and go to university.
Right.
Well, that's a good goal to have as well.
Yeah, and so for her, she's, she feels like she can pick it up again. It's just
absolutely.
And remind people of her name?
Jill Doucette.
What was her little handle? She was
Jill DeBomb.
The Bomb. That's
I
right
love
there.
it.
She's
What a
16
cutie,
now,
though,
so
right?
She would not want that now.
No. At 16, right? Teenager.
But I think that's pretty awesome.
I remember. Was it my photographer that took the photo?
That's right. Amazing.
What?
Amazing
Who? What?
photos.
I can't. I just remember the photo, and it was like I 13 years I've been doing this.
Yeah.
I see a ton of photos from my photographers. But every once in a while, one will stand out, and I was, holy shit, that was a good photo. So I remember that. And I think that's how you found us or found me, was the photo, and then we connected, and
Exactly.
from there, yeah.
That's awesome. I'm curious, because I'm sure not a lot of people know, where did you grow up? Why boxing? How did you get involved in
Okay, well, we're going right back to the beginning.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I am from Agassiz. I was born in Mission, grew up in Harrison Mills. Do you know where Hemlock Valley is?
No.
No?
No.
Anyways, I grew up skiing.
Small town, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Small
Smells like
town,
very-
total small town. I have two older brothers, and so I was always the tomboy.
Yeah.
At 19, I joined the Navy.
Oh.
Went away to the Navy and went into a trade that had just opened up to females, and so it was always, going against the grain. Was in the Navy for 7.5 years, and then I left the Navy on a Friday, started corrections on the Monday, and then ended up in corrections. So fast forward, I have 31 years federal government.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In town here, like corrections in town, like
I
at
worked
William
at
Head?
William Head,
I was
yeah.
just going to say, probably William
okay.
Head, yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
I started at
Yeah.
Kent.
That's where I know you.
Yeah, you do recognize me. Anyways, but
Wednesday fish night.
So what happened was mid-30s, divorce, 2 small children, trying to figure out who I was in the world, and took a hit to my self-esteem and
Absolutely.
tried to figure out where I belonged. And it was actually an inmate that suggested, because I was looking for something. So I started running long distance. I started lifting weights. I was searching. And one of the inmates said, you're built like a boxer. Okay. Maybe I should try boxing. And I went to Olson's in Colwood.
Yeah.
And after the first class, I went to Al Olson, who was my coach. I said, I want to fight.
Wow.
After the first class.
Wow.
First class. I knew.
That's amazing.
I just knew.
Yeah.
It spoke to me on a level that nothing had spoken to me before. And
Did
I
you
was
find it
searching for that.
empowering?
Oh, do we have a few hours?
Yeah.
And then I started training in my 40th years. When I turned 40, you know, people go to Vegas, people do all these different things.
Yeah.
I got in the ring and had a first fight.
Wow.
Oh
And
my
so,
gosh.
and for me and my 2 younger children, you know, they were there ringside. And it wasn't about the opponent across the ring. It was all about me. And it was all about my journey and who I was at that moment.
Did you want to rip her head off?
No.
Like,
no, I
so,
wanted-
no, just to,
No,
like,
I'm going to
no,
guess
no,
that
I,
she wanted
I
to
get
prove
it,
she
but
could do it.
I understand that, but the killer instinct.
Men and
I
women
think
fight
that's
for
it's
different
different.
reasons.
Yeah.
Really?
Men and women
I
So you
agree.
did it just to prove to yourself.
Exactly.
Yes.
Men and women do it for different
Different
reasons.
reasons.
Men
Oh,
go in
wow.
there and see who's got the bigger balls.
Yep.
Women
I would go in there hoping to beat him, so
course
I
you
didn't
would.
get beat. Like I would be so.
Right. I mean, I went in there not wanting to lose.
Right.
Of course.
Nobody-
But it was more to prove it to myself that I was
Wow,
worthy.
good for you.
That I was worthy, because as women, when you
I was just going to say.
yeah, as women, we go through different journeys, right? And especially if you've married, you have children, you always put yourself kind of last.
I think
So,
as
but you
women, we
didn't
do
have-
that in general.
Yeah.
You
We're
didn't
caregivers,
have that
yeah.
years of not rage, but years of frustration just gonna come out in that moment of fighting this.
No, I
this
think
Different. It's a different way of channeling it than men. It's just different. I can't. it's
No,
hard to explain.
yeah,
I think,
yeah.
I think we're different creatures that way. Like, I think women are more emotionally driven, and
Right.
we're caregivers our
Right.
whole lives. So instead of going in there thinking she wants to, I just want to be the tougher one. I want to. She was looking for something for herself. Of course, she didn't want to
prove
lose.
to me that I was worthy and that I was confident, because I put all these walls around me for so many years that I'm confident. I'm all that. But until you're actually in that situation, you don't really know, because those are just things that you've put out there, you've projected.
Deep down, were you insecure?
100%.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
Because as women, we're inherently that way. We just do. We don't think we're enough.
Well, men are insecure.
No, yeah, but
It's
it's in a different
different.
way.
It's
Here's
different.
what I'm going to say. I'm going to take this segue just for a
Yeah.
minute and go back to women. So I'm in my 40s, never been married, don't have children. People look at you like you're broken. There's something
something's
wrong with you. You're not worthy because you didn't have children. You've never been married.
That's right.
I think strong-minded
But
women.
that's not how we think of you.
That's how
But that's how
we think.
society
That's
makes
right.
us feel. It's not necessarily the way that men feel. But what I'm saying is, this is a great story because
It
women
is a
in their
great story.
40s, so she
50.
started at but she started at 40. And
She ain't insecure now. Let's get, hey?
and she shouldn't be. And there is
No.
something about aging where you do sort of start to get to that
Right.
place where you're like, I am enough. Just because I'm smart doesn't mean I'm worthy. Because that's another thing that people don't understand. When you're smart and you're doing all you can and you're succeeding and you're bold and you say what you want to say, society's taken back by
right.
by
All of a
that
sudden
with
you're a
women.
bitch.
Yes, absolutely.
Really?
You
Yeah.
think you
1000%.
know it all.
Yep.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So let me finish.
No,
this
yeah,
up.
absolutely.
So I had that first fight. I came back to the ring, and
Oh, can I just stop you?
Yeah.
Did you win?
Well, it was an exhibition, but I did knock her down with a jab.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So continue. Sorry. I just had to know.
It's all right. Anyways, and so I came back to the corner, and at the very end, and my coach said, "Well, what do you think?" And I said, "When's the next one?"
You were
Because
hooked.
it was that empowering.
You were hooked.
I was 100% hooked.
Wow.
And then when I realized, so I had 3 more fights after that, lost the next one, and then won the last 2. Went to Vernon for 1, and then went to North Vancouver for 1. And then I was starting to train for provincials, because I thought, oh, I'll go to provincials. But at that point, you know, as being a 40-year-old, you're a master. So you can't go anywhere with it other than...
But you weren't in it for that anyway.
No. But I'm just saying, like, for me to train to go to
Yeah,
provincials
yeah,
and
yeah.
then go on, like, there came to a point that I thought, okay, because it was taking a lot of time away, because it's a lot of training, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
I would go in the morning and I would train. I would run 5K every second day, and I had 2 small children, and I worked full time. So it was just a lot of juggling, and then, you know, I'd train, and then there wouldn't be a fight, or because it's really hard to
So
match
you've done
women.
all that work, and
So you
then
did-
it's
exactly, and it's just the letdown. So then I started switching gears and deciding that the way I felt, I wanted to share that with other women. I wanted to empower other women to feel what I felt. And so I started training women, and it just kind of went from there. So I started kind of
simultaneously training the kid, like your daughter Jill?
No,
So
this
this
is
Oh,
This is before. So this was at Olson's, and I started helping with the morning class, which is the women's only class. And Al Olson, I don't know if you ever knew Al Olson.
No.
Anyway,
Of
Been around
him,
for a
of
long
him,
time.
by reputation, and
yeah,
a great,
amazing,
yeah.
amazing guy. And
Yeah.
he believed in me when I didn't believe in myself.
That's the
right?
kind of coach you need, though.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And so
It's the kind
I
of partner
started-
you need.
Yeah, so I started training the women, and then a couple women came out from Sooke and said, "You should bring this to Sooke. You should really get into."
I loved
gym
when
and
I was living in Sooke when you did.
How have you lived in Sooke long at that time?
Yeah, I was in East Sooke.
Okay.
I've been in East Sooke for
I was just
19
curious.
years.
Okay, yeah, so quite a while.
And so I started, I went to the owner of whatever the gym is there now.
The Sooke 24-hour
Yeah,
fitness.
yeah.
Gym.
So I went there.
Gym. What's a gym?
The gym, yeah.
You wouldn't know.
Anyways, I went there and I started teaching boxing there. And then we kind of came to a split of different ways because I wanted to start a nonprofit boxing club, because the whole idea of a nonprofit was I wanted to empower as many people as I could.
So it wasn't
And
just
that's a
women at this
beautiful
point; it
thing.
was just anybody.
Anybody, kids, women. And at this point, this is when Jill, my daughter, started to box. And it was actually at Olson's when I was there that Jill, she was too young to join the kids boxing. So she was upstairs in the karate, but she'd had her gi on and everything. She hated it. Would sneak down the stairs and hit the bag. And it was Al Olson that says, "That kid's got something."
Yeah.
Right? And that it's kind of how it started. And my son at the time.
She was what, 10 or when I?
God, no, she was 7. When you saw her, she was 10.
Yeah, I don't know. She was
something
she was,
like that.
she was young.
Yeah, she was really young.
Yeah.
But she started hitting the bag and whatnot, I think about 7 or 8. Yeah. And then my son was doing it, but he did it. He was in hockey, but he was one of those kids that had no self-esteem.
Yeah.
He was always the last to get picked.
Yeah.
And so he did it for a confidence booster. And oh boy.
I want to talk about that. That's one of the things that I regret. As you get older, we have no choice but to look back and you kind of gauge yourself and take us this
You try not to have
moral,
regrets, but you definitely
fearless
you definitely-
inventory of yourself, and you
Totally.
try to, just what. Anyway, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. Happy Valentine's Day. But one of the things that I regret is not taking some sort of martial arts or training. Martial arts wasn't really big back then. There was, it was
I tried
karate.
that. I was always more interested in
No,
boxing,
but
but there weren't the facilities that there are now for when I was younger.
No, but just on a confidence thing, I don't know of any other thing in the world that is going to make you feel powerful or secure, knowing that you can handle yourself in a situation
I think
if
that's
it
the big
arises.
part of it, right?
And anytime I've known quite a few boxers, a lot of my buddies boxed, and they just have this not cockiness, not swagger, maybe all of it.
I actually almost find them more humble sometimes.
But it's that inner strength, confidence that I have never had, and to this day I still don't have. And it's for me, I of all the sports and all the things that you could do in your life, I would say to parents,
that's something that you should
boxing
Yeah.
or some sort of self-defense.
Yes.
We have pink shirts and bullying days and stuff like that. Sometimes a shirt isn't going to cut it. Sometimes just standing up for yourself and going, I'm not taking it anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not saying,
Yeah,
go out into
no,
violence,
no.
but at the end of the
I get
day,
what you're saying. Society
if you have
says you
that,
can't do that, but kids are getting bullied so bad.
if you have that swagger,
you know?
it is noticeable to other people, and they don't pick on
They
you.
don't pick on you. That's
That's
what
the
it is.
point that I'm
Yeah.
trying to make. You don't have to take a swing.
you don't
You
have
don't
to.
have to do this. It just comes through you,
Yeah.
right? So when you fought your first time, you were obviously scared, or were you?
Oh God, yeah.
Okay,
100% scared.
but not scared enough not to do it.
No, I think at that point I was so driven, and and as women, we don't want to let anybody down, right?
Yes.
So we don't want to let anybody down.
Yes.
So
Right.
everybody was there watching me.
That's a
I
big
didn't-
thing.
I didn't want to let anybody down,
Okay.
and I didn't want to disappoint myself because this was the journey that I needed to take.
But I want, what I'm really trying to get after here is the in-depth, because we're getting really deep into this, and I'm glad we are, because at what point then did you ever lose that fear? Or what point did you get to where
You still don't say everybody always has a little
you
bit.
weren't insecure anymore? Like, can you
Okay, so-
gauge that?
I think it's a process. I think it's a process. After my first fight, I felt empowered. Like I said, nothing spoke to me until that moment, like that did. But I still had those insecurities because it's still who I am and it's who I've been for, 40
Today,
years.
do you have?
No. 40
Okay.
years of my life.
Yeah.
And then it slowly, it changed over time.
I would think.
I wanna
the
talk about that, Shay.
I would think that starting a boxing club and seeing these kids succeed and what you do and women succeed, because there's women who box for you as well. I would think that would definitely be a key into confidence. I mean, you've done that for people, right? I mean, that must change your confidence.
But I want to know when you realize it, right? Did it change the rest of your life? Did you go to work differently? Did you parent differently? Did you shop differently? Did you just approach life differently? Like, can you remember a time where you went, aha?
No, I think after that first fight that yes, I remember going to work soon after that, a couple days after that, and I had a black eye. And, and it wasn't, it was like I had some spring to my step because I knew that, what? I just went toe to toe with somebody and I'm okay.
Because you know what insecurity feels like.
Right. That was the message to me, is that I
Good
could
for
go
you.
toe
Okay.
to toe with somebody and guess what? I'm okay.
Yeah,
Right?
I came out survived.
Exactly. And I think that's the biggest message is this, and I tell all the women that I train and even the kids, if you get into the ring and you lose, that sucks. But are you standing? Yeah. Well, then guess what? You survived.
You survived.
You did
See,
it.
that's wicked.
You did it.
See, people a lot of times talk about empowerment and this and that, and it's just a word. However, nobody actually explains what empowerment is. Nobody actually takes the time to say, this is the moment right here that I was empowered. I remember it distinctly. It was that time
Or
I
right
stood up
after
for myself,
this,
and I've never looked back, and I've never changed the way I've done things. In fact, I'm going to do it more.
Well, that was the pivotal point in my life.
Okay. That's what I wanted to get to.
I mean, and it was, because that was the pivotal point. And then it was a whole bunch of things after that. And that's why I say it's a process, because it was those little things. And I think that I needed to have those little things. Like when I had that black eye, I was at a grocery store. It was actually Fairway Market. And the cashier was kind of looking at me. And I had two young children.
Abused wife.
And she said, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
And my son, proud as a peacock, said, "My mom was in a fight." Right?
Perfect.
And so those little moments, I was, right?
That's when you pull out like your 14,000 coupons and go, you got a problem with these coupons?
Right.
You got a problem here? Again, I'm glad we got down and because now you're teaching.
That's right.
Now teaching, and I've coached different sports. It's a thankless job at times.
But it's so
it can
rewarding.
be rewarding
gonna
at
say,
times.
it must be
However,
very rewarding.
the whole idea and crux of teaching or coaching for me is to try to show them at an earlier age than it took me to figure out.
100%.
And I don't think people really put that emphasis on the how hard coaching is or how stressful coaching can be, because I want that kid to learn at 12 what it took me to when I was 55 to learn. So, to have all that knowledge and stuff like that, that's the sign of a good coach. I mean, coaching today is, before it used to be do what I tell you to do.
Yeah, it's way different. Now
You-
it's
you
more
do that.
encouragement, more support, more it's not all about winning, it's about learning the skills and being the best you can be, I think is what.
And then it used to be, I'll show you how to do it and do it that way.
Yeah.
Well, people now today, they want to know why. And it takes a good coach or an instructor to figure out that he's not saying or she's not saying why because they're doubting you. They just want to know. I think kids today really, really, really want to know why instead of just being told. Like, oh, that's why. And it's like not holding their hand through the process, but maybe they just don't understand it and they're speaking up more now. So the coaching has changed over the years where you really have to sit down with these children you're coaching, and just telling them and showing them isn't enough. You have to explain why.
But I think with coaching is you have to show up. You have to show up in different ways, right? You kind of have to be, for me, you have to be part mother, part coach, part
psychologist,
everything.
Nurse,
everything all rolled into one. And be the example, right?
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing, is be the example. With the kids, especially the girls, so what you talked about with empowering girls, empowering women, is to know, like, to teach what I wish I would have known
when you were that age.
When I was, 10, 11, 12,
100%.
13, 15, 16, I probably wouldn't have got married.
And there's exactly what I was talking about, because we learned that, or I'm still learning that. Whereas if you can give women that at a girls at a very young age,
exactly,
could change their life.
Exactly. If I could get all the young girls to feel confident and feel is what I feel now with what boxing has brought to me, and just feel that they are enough and they are equals, and they don't have to be something that they're not. You women
can be
like
tough.
girls.
You can be bold.
Right.
You can speak your mind. You can. It's not just about this. Like society tends to.
I wish I could touch every girl in that way and get them to believe in that. I mean, it goes to show you that
almost brings tears to my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, we know
it's a tough thing growing up as a girl.
Let's talk about it then. Let's talk about
how tough is teary-eyed talking about it.
How tough is it to be a woman?
It's very hard. Like, something that you say to somebody, okay? Like, you say something and you're bold and direct. Oh, you're assertive. That's Scott. If I say it the same way or she does, oh my God, she's such a bitch.
Well, hang on. So that's okay. I want to. We're going down this rabbit hole. Let's go down it then. Fine. No, really, right?
But that's why something like boxing, because these girls are together now, and now they're supporting each other, and they're building a foundation to be better with women, I think.
150%. I will agree 100%. Let's. Okay, if we're gonna go here, let's go here. How jealous are women to another woman?
That's probably the worst thing as a girl growing up, is girls being rough on girls.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's bad.
What's the worst enemy to a woman? Another woman?
Oh, really? That's hard to say, because there's different contexts to that.
Absolutely.
Do we not build each other up? Or are we, like, because...
no, women have a tendency of beating each other down.
Yes.
Right?
Especially when they're young. I've seen it with teenagers.
Yeah.
It is hard. It is.
But then when we get older, men figure that we have our place.
Yes.
Right? And so then men can be the enemy. Right? And don't think that I'm some raging feminist.
No.
Neither am I.
Hey, listen. Listen, as a middle-aged white male, I haven't got a fucking clue.
I think where
it's a minefield out there. I don't. Are we?
I think where I was going with it is just like what she is doing for these girls, and because
it's amazing.
It can totally change lives. Like it sounds like such a small thing. It's a boxing club. It's great, but the empowerment that it's giving them, and again, they come together and they're supporting each other. And that's like something that it's just always been a thing growing up. And that was hard for me. I loved the guys. Like, I was a tough kid. I can't tell you how many fights I got into when I was a kid because girls just wanted to pick on me all the time. It was horrible.
That's why I like
And I wish I had have done something like that. But when
it's not too late, Chris. It's right there in your backyard. See, the thing I like about boxing is, simply put, is that, and I wanted to talk about this too, and we're going to segue into it. It's that it can be corrupt when it comes to judging and stuff like this. When you get higher up on the levels, and I've interviewed quite a few. I know quite a few boxers, but there is this mutual respect. There is this. If you are going to have the Kona, if you got the guts to go in that ring, you've earned my respect already. And there's this massive respect level that it doesn't matter about opponents and stuff like this, and that kids going to learn and people learn. Right, but when you start getting into MMA and all that, then you get into a circus, and then you get that
that's a
like
little
Jake
more- yeah,
Paul,
it's
that like
different.
all that
Yeah.
other nonsense. You know, to me, that just puts the sport, the industry, back 1,000 steps.
100%.
And
I
that to
agree
me,
with that
so
as well,
but that's like that with men and women. Like you see, I'm all for empowerment, and I get it. I absolutely.
There's lines.
What I don't
Sure.
understand is it okay to tell a woman she's still beautiful without coming off creepy?
I just think
is
part
it
of the- part of the
okay
thing
to
is-
like? I just don't know
I think part
where
of the
the
thing is
things
women
are
setting
anymore.
boundaries too. Whereas if you give women confidence, say you tell me I'm beautiful, I know you. I'm like, thanks, Scott. That's really nice.
say I
but
don't
some
know you.
creepy dude coming up to me, I don't know. I'm kind of like, or people calling you baby. That's another one that. Like, if you're my friend, maybe I can deal with that. But if you're just some random person at the bar that's like, hey, baby, I don't know. Like, women got to use their voices, too, and be like, hey, my name's Chris. I'd appreciate if you call. Like, you know what I mean?
Have
Whereas I
that
think
confidence to set those boundaries,
is-
right?
Well, that's
where
the
it's
thing,
at.
right?
That's
Right.
exactly
So
it.
I don't know of how, like a lot of sports that, sports are great. I'm all for sport. Boxing, to me,
it would build that confidence for
it's
sure.
the
it would.
confidence within.
Yeah,
100%.
It's not
100%.
a fight all the time. You're fighting with yourself to be confident and
Right.
to stand up for yourself. That's the fight in boxing.
I agree, 1,000%.
me.
Let's go to. Can we go to? Let's talk about the club. So let's talk about Sooke Boxing
Okay.
Club. So nonprofit.
So, in 2016, we started our own club. We did it at the other gym. We started it. We got it chartered through Boxing BC. Then we moved to our own facility, which was right by Route 14.
Yep.
And we were there until just in December when we moved. So I started as a nonprofit. Everybody that coaches with us is volunteer. Nobody
love
gets,
it. Yep.
nobody takes a wage.
I know all about that.
And so I started this, and I'm still to this day, I do it because I, A, love the sport, and B, how it's changed my life. I want it to change so many other people's lives. And that's why I got into it. So you were talking about how, boxing, what we're doing in society and stuff. And I think that we're doing a good job and we're getting out there, but I think that people coach for money more so than coach for the love of it. Right?
Hockey's getting that
And
way now.
I think that's where you lose. I think that's where coaching isn't done from the heart. Then it's more about.
And so and I've seen it with my own kids going through things and through different sports, and you see it. People that coach because they absolutely love the sport. Or what it does for them, or what they can pass on, their experience passed on. I think that's a different level. It's a completely different level. When you do it because you will just want to get money and this is your livelihood.
You see that with
It's different.
athletes too. Like athletes that'll give up money to have another good player on their team because they genuinely love the sport. I think that says a lot about an athlete and a coach.
Yeah. So we started as a nonprofit. We were there. The rent got way too much, and with COVID, I was doing bottle drives to keep the lights on because we couldn't. It was awful.
Yeah,
it was awful.
Stressful.
Stressful. I worked full time, so I could take some of my wage to help it, but that wasn't really sustainable for a long time.
No.
And then we found out that the rent was going up, and I just couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. So then I was going to walk away from it all.
Oh.
And it was really
I think I
hard
had heard
decision.
about that actually. I had heard something about that, and a lot of people were really like the Sooke community is very supportive. You know that, and I think there were a lot of people that were really devastated about that.
Was what?
Did the Sooke community rally behind you?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
To a good portion of it. Yes.
Oh,
yes,
cool.
Absolutely. I remember when I called the group that I was working with because we're on our way to Mexico. I was working with a group of girls. And I broke down and cried and apologized. It was hard for me
to accept something. Yeah, I don't like it either.
I couldn't.
I hate.
It was really hard.
It's a hard thing.
That's my defense mechanism.
Do you know someone told me something about that before, and I'm always giving. And someone said to me, somebody went to give me something, and I'm like, no, like I can't take that. I can't take that. And you know what they said to me? How do you feel when you give to someone?
I love it.
And I'm like, I feel great. And they're like, you are taking that feeling away from someone else by not letting them help you.
It's true.
Yeah.
So anyway, so the community rallied behind us, and then as it turned out, Sooke Nation, I don't even know how it happened, but we ended up talking to Sooke Nation, and they took a proposal to their council meeting, and next thing you know, we're in the building across from the high school which is the old church.
That's amazing.
It's the
yeah,
Lazar
I know
building.
exactly where it is.
It's
yeah.
the old Catholic church in Sooke.
There's that one church, like it's kind of across
I
from
thought
high
it was
school.
just like a with the high Ed Millen.
Yeah.
Right across from
right
high
across
school.
the
Yeah.
high
Yeah,
school. There's a
it's
church.
That parking lot.
What's the?
Yeah, it's kind of
Catholic
in behind there.
church.
Oh, that's where you are now.
Yeah.
Oh, wicked.
Tall little upstairs.
No.
So we're gonna
That's
bump to a
amazing.
higher power.
I love it.
Ah, wow.
So you
Nice.
you briefly touched on Mexico.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Okay, so I guess I should start with how that all came
Yeah.
about. So back to Jill,
Yeah.
my daughter. So I took her down to San Francisco to an all-female card. This is when she first was kind of coming on the scene. And to the all-female card, I thought it was a really good idea because, as I explained, I couldn't find fights for me when I was fighting, right? There's not a lot of women that are fighting. And so now you peel those layers back even more, and here's this young girl, and it's really super hard to match her up. So I went to San Francisco to an all-female card. I thought, this is great, right?
Because she was naturally just good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there was one in Ireland and one in
boy.
San Francisco at the time. So I took her down to San Francisco the first year, and I was blown away by it. All these women coming together and having this female card. Talk about empowerment.
Yeah.
And then the following year, I took her again, and then that's when I kind of branched out and was doing my own thing a little bit more, and was going to get into the club. Actually, just started the club, and I thought, you know what? I was down there and looking around, thinking, I can do this. I can do this. So I came back and started. The wheels start turning, and I thought, you know what? I am going to have my own all-female card, and so West Coast Wonder Woman was born. And
I remember that.
Oh
yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
West Coast Wonder Woman International all-female card, and at the time we were number 6 in the world.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the only one in Canada.
That's pretty amazing, and I bet a lot of people did not know that too.
No,
you just
the
said
only one in Canada. And so
Wow.
we had our first one in 2018, and I think I had 65 competitors come from as far as
Is this sanctioned? No.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
yes,
That's
Boxing
amazing.
BC, Boxing
Really?
Canada, you betcha. And so all these women would come, women and girls came from all over the place, from California, Oregon. Oh, geez, as far back east as I could, probably Ontario. And then that was the first year. So there was about 65. And then the following year, promoted a little bit more. People start talking, and we had, almost 90 competitors come.
Wow.
And now we had some from Mexico. We had from all over. And as far as Nova Scotia, like all over.
Good fighters out in the
Yeah, and so
Nova Scotia.
all these
Oh,
people
boy.
came, like a team from Ontario, from Saskatchewan, Alberta, like everywhere.
Yeah.
Washington State, and it just grew. And this was just an amazing event.
Cool.
International
Where did you
event.
put them all?
They stayed in Airbnbs. They
So you helped the community, the community out.
Well, and of
with-
course, it would
the-
boost
we
the
had it at
community.
the community
Absolutely.
hall.
No, I'm just saying you helped the community out too with like
Absolutely.
money
Yeah,
and
it would,
like
absolutely.
Exactly.
like restaurants and stuff.
Restaurants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so, and these people all bring their families too, right?
Oh yeah.
And so, in some of them there was one from Utah and one from, I can't remember, Indiana. And they didn't have a place to stay because they kind of came in at the last minute. They stayed at my house.
I love it.
Perfect.
So, and I had the group from Mexico stay at my house. So,
Awesome.
you know what? I've got a couch.
You make
right?
do. You make do. It's
And
fine.
let's just make this happen.
Yeah.
And so they all came together, and it was truly amazing. So then part of that is I thought, okay, so back to 2018. When I decided to have West Coast Wonder Woman, I thought, okay, how am I going to get women here in Sooke, in Greater Victoria, to step into the ring? How am I going to do that, right? How can I sell that? And so I actually went to the Sooke News Mirror, and one of the girls reporters that interviewed Jill, her name's Dawn Gibson. And I said to Kevin, who's the editor, I said, Kevin, I want to train Dawn. I want her to
That is a brilliant idea.
talk
That
about
is-
her
yeah.
journey to the ring,
Oh, okay.
right?
And
write
follow
about
it, yeah.
follow it, and then have her first fight.
Oh wow.
Anyways, and she was this lovely girl from Saskatchewan. I remember the first time she showed up at the club in her Birkenstocks and a Christmas Christmas hoodie, sort of, sweat top.
That's awesome.
And, hair flowing. And she's like, I really like yoga. I'm like,
Oh,
Here we go.
Anyways, yeah, here we go. Anyways, So she kept laughing when I'd say, oh, well, you're going to fight Dawn. She's, oh, I don't know, right? And so I worked with her for all those months, I think 5 months at the time. And her very first time sparring. So I trained her, got her into sparring. First, she gets cracked in the nose. First bleeding nose.
Oh, no, that's my worst nightmare. I got this.
She comes back and she says, I love it.
No way.
Seriously.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Seriously.
Was that her boxing name, Yoga?
No.
No, that would have been awesome,
But
eh?
anyways, and so
Dawn
then-
Yoga.
So she had her match at West Coast Wonder Woman. She did get into the ring. She fought a girl from San Francisco. She won.
Oh,
Nose blew up, bleeding everywhere, but that's okay. She won.
Wow.
And after that, she actually wrote a letter to her 18-year-old self, and she published it, and she actually won an award on it. And
that's amazing.
and how it changed her life.
life.
It changed her life. And soon after that, she quit her job and then went traveling the world, dumped her boyfriend that wasn't good to her, and, you know.
Whoa.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is. There's your moment. There's your moment.
Oh, yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I still keep in touch with her.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
And that was the moment that as a coach, that was my moment.
Yeah.
When I
can
saw
see that.
her so empowered, right?
Yeah.
When she got her hand raised and she just, oh my God, I could do this.
Yeah.
From yoga to champion.
That's,
there's
that's an incredible story.
I love that.
Okay, so West Coast Wonder Woman. So I went to Kevin, said I want to get Dawn going, and so at the same time, I approached some of the women that were already boxing in the club and said, "Listen, let's train. Let's put a plan together. Let's train. I want you to go out and get a sponsorship, right? So then you don't pay for training. Your sponsorship pays for your training, right? And it also helps with the event. We'll do this. We'll get you in the ring." And so it worked out well. And then I just fine-tuned it a little bit more the next year. And then I actually rented space at Forge.
Yeah.
And so I could get downtown girls. I thought, okay, I can bigger draw, bigger reach. And then as I got more sponsorship, I decided that, you know what? I need to do more for the community. I need to give back a little bit more because we're getting all these sponsors. I want to do more. So then I got a hold of Women's Active Living. That's in the schools. It's a girls only PE class.
Oh.
Now they don't call it Women's Active Living. They call it Active Living because boys can join too. And I went to UVic to a teacher's seminar sort of thing, and I put on a workshop, and I explained what I wanted to do. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to go into every high school, middle school in Greater Victoria and teach those girls that, you know what, start thinking about it now because you know what, you have it in you, and I want to teach you. I want you to be thinking about your self-esteem, self-confidence, all those things, you know, because we know that at age 13, girls stop being active. Why? Body image, low self-esteem, you know, they don't want to, right?
Absolutely.
Body image is huge, right?
Body image in women
and that's
is
why I love boxing too, because you know what? I don't care what size you are. I don't care. I'll find you a match. It doesn't matter.
Because boxing doesn't
right?
care.
Boxing doesn't care.
No.
Yeah, you step on the scale and, ooh, my God, that's a number. It's just the number.
Yeah.
Right? I'll find you a match where you are. Right? And so
I'm about a light heavyweight, I think.
so anyway, so I started going into the schools and teaching these PE classes, boxing. Absolutely loved it. Then COVID hit.
Yeah.
Right? But I mean, that was the whole scenario is kind of like this whole big idea of what I wanted to do with this West Coast Wonder Woman is empower my community, empower the females that are in our community, and especially our young girls, get them to believe in themselves. And
Is it true that boxing's for broken people? If you look at the history of boxing, or you know, and just follow me with this, just follow me.
I think that I could see how there could be a history there, maybe before, but now I think maybe now that might be changing a bit.
No, I know exactly where you're going. Go, keep going.
The whole aspect of, for me, when you look at boxers and where they came from and stuff like this, broken homes, single parents, living on the street, whatever.
So maybe they had
to a church.
That was a
having
way
an
they could have
Irish-
some control is boxing.
Having an Irish coach, bad kid delinquent, going to the gym, getting picked up by a boxing coach.
Yeah.
Yep.
It just has this. aspect around it where it's for broken people, and it's always helped in some way.
Mm-hmm. But I
so
think,
how, can a kid be broken at 12? I was.
Absolutely. A kid can be broken.
Can a kid be?
younger.
I was.
yeah, but I
Right?
think everybody has a story.
Yes.
Oh no, I get that.
And
I
think
understand that. It's the So how would you sell boxing? Not just to feed. I love the empowerment. I do. I'm all about inclusion. That's everything. I want inclusion.
Oh, I know
for
what you're saying,
everybody,
but males
everything.
have their own issues growing up too.
Well, the thing with males, and I'll tell you, because we've touched on the females part of it, is we don't have anybody to talk to.
Well,
Who the
it's
fuck
hard.
are we
Men
gonna
are
go
taught
to?
not. Men are taught not to talk. Let's be
Well, who
honest.
are we going to go to? And another guy isn't going to give a shit.
No, that's a true fact.
That's just that's there's nobody to go to.
No, because you're
Right?
You're,
That's not whinging. That's not whining.
No, it's
that's
not.
not
That's
this.
just-
But
it's
there
the
are
same as-
times where it's just what? That's the broken part, right? So
Absolutely.
drugs, alcohol, this, whatever.
But again,
that-
society teaches males that too. You don't talk about your feelings. If you're a male, you don't talk about your feelings.
Right. But where I'm going with this is that boxing hasn't changed. Where every other sport, it's now 44 grand to go to a hockey school.
Yeah.
It's I talk about it all the time, and I'm going to probably lose listeners because I'm just not. It's not. What are we doing here? Like, what are we? It might still be broken, but now you're broken and broke financially because you just, you know what I mean. So, but boxing has always stayed on that level, and the other sport I find with that dignity, like you have the integrity, rugby. I find rugby is very much a sport. Played by men and women with ethics and honor and that whole thing. How would you sell on boxing to a parent?
Yeah, because that's kind of a tough sell to a parent. Like
It's a massive. How do you do it? Like your kid's going to get punched in the head. Your kid's going to get this.
Yeah.
I'm going to you can't coach a boxer in the same way you would coach figure skating.
No. And you know what? You're right, because there are some parents that I can't sell it to. They already have their mind made up.
Yeah.
They already think that boxing is a barbaric sport. They have no idea what it actually means.
I don't want violence in my household.
Right. The people like that, I can't sell it to them.
Yeah.
I can.
Is boxing violent?
No.
No.
Not at all.
I don't think so either.
Not
I
at
don't
all.
think so either.
No.
So
it's
explain
not.
that. Can you touch on that?
Explain that it's not violent. Okay, I look at MMA and I look I see violence.
Me too.
Yeah,
Right?
I don't like it.
No, neither do I.
Me
and
personally,
I
I
think
don't
that
either.
if you are taking somebody to the ground and choking them out, you've gone a level that's way beyond.
Way beyond,
Way
yeah.
beyond. Boxing, they call it the sweet science for a reason, right? It's like a chess match, right? It's beautiful to watch. When you watch two people that know how to box, it's beautiful because
Agreed.
it's all about
So
strategy.
much technique.
So
Technique,
much technique,
strategy,
strategy.
yeah.
You know, it's beautiful to watch. It's not violent in the sense of the same MMA. Yes, there are knockouts. There are people that get pretty beat up, right? That's the one side of the sport. There's so much more to it. There's so much more to it. As for a parent, you know, I've had some parents come up to me and say, how could you put your beautiful daughter in boxing? Aren't you worried about disfigurement? Aren't you worried about, creating something that she's not? I'm like, what? You actually have no idea what boxing even is. Fast forward to 2 years ago, she fell on her bike and broke her nose. Never had an issue with her nose boxing, right?
Yeah.
And broke her nose cycling. So, yeah, I mean, disfigurement, come on, really?
Yeah,
There's
that's-
checks and bounds in place for a reason. We wear headgear.
Yeah.
There's mouth guards.
I want
right?
to talk about that too. So,
And
so
we
what's the headgear and the bog? Like, what weight are the gloves?
So when you spar, they're 16 ounce. When you fight, they're 10 ounce.
Okay.
Yeah. So you train with like big pillows. I mean, they still hurt. But the whole idea is you don't just throw somebody in the ring and say, sink or swim.
No, you're
There's
giving
a
them-
whole process to that, right? You teach them how to throw punches properly. You teach them how to defend themselves.
Is there anybody fitter than a boxer?
No.
No.
Boxers are the number one. Soccer players are
Yeah,
number two.
like I was gonna say, like
Yeah,
just
yeah,
okay.
that
So
doesn't-
like like getting back to selling it.
Yeah.
All these things have to be said before
Right.
your kid goes in the ring. No?
And you know what? And there's lots of times that I'll get parents come in and say, teach little Bobby how to box. I want him to fight.
Yeah.
Right?
He's
Because
getting
I
picked
want him-
on in school.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it doesn't just happen that way.
No.
Right? Little Bobby might suck. And
Yeah.
and he can't defend himself. I'm never, as a coach, gonna put him in that
Yeah.
situation. He's got to put all that work in to make sure that I know he can defend himself.
Or
That if
else
he
you
doesn't,
can't. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And you don't know how little Bobby or little Susie are going to react until you get them in the ring and you see them sparring. Some people that are really tough coming to the gym and they think that they're really great.
And they're not
They
great.
get in there, they get one crack, and that's it.
Oh,
They
yeah.
take a knee, they're out.
The loudest
Right.
dog in the room is usually the weakest,
Exactly.
right? So,
And you know what?
is it
And
social?
100%. Yeah, it's social. It's very social. So West Coast Wonder Woman, back to being
Yeah.
social.
Yeah.
So West Coast Wonder Woman now, so this year, I have some of the ladies that started for the 2019 one or 2020, whatever we are now. Anyways, and they were training. We got sidelined. Now some of them have come back with some new ones. Right? And so we've got
New what?
18 new girls that are
Girls.
training.
New
Oh,
Right?
okay.
So we've got 18 girls right now going through the program, and I say program because it's 6 months of training to get into the ring. There's 18 of them. Now, 18 from all different walks of life, all different stories, all different ages, all different weights, and now they're a team. And to see that team,
Like a
Yes,
gladiator?
absolutely.
it's pretty cool, right? It is pretty cool,
Wow.
right? And
Okay.
so Ava, who
Yes,
you know Ava,
absolutely.
Ava's on that team.
Who's Ava?
Ava is
Oh, really? I don't know who that is.
Stu used to own part of 17 Mile.
Yeah.
It's their daughter, and she
Oh,
is an incredible
okay.
little
Sorry.
thing.
Okay, so anyways, yeah, go.
She
So that
is
was our connection because
yeah.
she was Ava.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
I
Ava
got it.
is,
Okay. Look at you
Ava-
two bonding. It warms the
know,
cockles
right?
of my heart.
Ava is to meet this kid too, because I've known her since she was like born basically, and I don't see her as much now. But she's a mellow kid. Like she's pretty like you wouldn't look at Ava and go, that kid's a boxer right off the bat. But
Boxers
she's
are
good.
quiet, and I'm
She's-
glad you brought that
yeah,
up because you
absolutely.
the difference between MMA and boxing is just go watch a press conference and go watch the pre-fight or whatever, like when they're the weigh-ins.
Yeah.
Right? Boxers aren't just going up there mouthing off.
No.
and
Well, I
She's
think
a
the biggest
nice
example
kid.
is look at Manny Pacquiao. Look at how
Oh,
he
yes.
was so humble
Yeah.
and
So
give to
humble.
the people, and and he always would say at his press conference, "I want to give the people a good fight."
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Like he'd always
It's a
say
beautiful
that,
thing, right?
right?
Okay, so
So
where
it's
were
back
we
to
before Ava? Ava. Jesus, chili
I
pants.
know. Oh, you were asking
like
me about
talking.
bonding, right?
Yeah.
So our biggest thing is to build each other up, not beat each other down, right? And so everybody on that team, and it is a team because we are West Coast Wonder Woman. We work together. These are their sparring partners, their training partners, the ones that are going to be in the corner. If they get cracked and they start crying, everybody goes through the ups and downs of the training, right?
Yeah.
Because it's an emotional roller coaster. One day you'll have a really bad sparring session and you'll think that you're not good enough. You're not doing it. You're not learning fast enough. You suck, right? Everyone goes through that. It's the partners that pick you up, right? And you become close.
How do you control your temper?
You
Not
learn
losing
that.
it. Yeah, that's what I mean.
you
How?
learn that.
I think
that's all
yeah.
part of
The coaching.
boxing.
Like you
and
coach, you're
everything,
coaching.
yeah.
Like if you see
My
a
temper?
No,
well.
No, but I would
Well, your
imagine,
temper too,
I would
yeah.
imagine as a coach, you have to kind of
That's
teach
what-
them
yeah.
how to keep that.
Like when you see a kid get cracked, and all of a sudden now he's forgetting all the techniques and skills, and
Well,
just
exactly,
Yeah.
because
wants to
and you
club.
see that the technique goes out the window
Yeah.
if you let anger.
so you stop right away.
Well, yeah. I mean,
you
but
bring
you know
them-
what? I don't have that with the girls. It's different. With the
different-
girls, it's different. You don't have
What?
that. It's different.
No, it's
I
not.
probably wouldn't be different.
No, it's not. There's
Different.
I'm
So,
joking.
okay.
really,
Example,
eh?
Yeah.
A few months ago, I
see
had
that.
2 guys come in to spar, and all of a sudden, they didn't know each other, but it's who's got bigger balls.
Yeah,
and then,
yeah.
so sparring is supposed to be working together,
Yeah.
right? But now they're just
Yeah.
cracking each other to
So
the
not
point that I'm
learning
like, okay,
anything.
whoa, a little bit too, like we're not in a fight here. Like pull it back, right? Whereas women get in and they spar, they're like, oh, am I doing that right? Like,
They're not.
oh,
Don't say they hit him and go sorry.
yes,
No.
they do.
No,
Yes,
I don't
they
want to
do.
hear
I can
that.
see that. Yeah,
It's
totally.
Oh,
boxing.
I'm sorry. Yeah, and that's exactly,
but
as a
No.
coach, as a coach, that's what I say. There's
No,
no sorry in
no.
boxing.
Yeah.
No sorry,
No.
right?
I think that's
I
just,
played my first rugby game, and I don't even know how old. I was a soccer guy and hockey and stuff. And my buddy's like, "Hey man, do you want to fill in, please? Like, can you like?" And I'm like, "I've never played rugby before in my life. We'll put you in the back, whatever. You just like, if you catch the ball, as soon as you catch it, kick it." So I'm like, "All right, fuck, here we go." So I catch this thing, and I kick it. But what I didn't know is that I have to run. The team has to be behind me, or it's offside. And I'm like, but now you tell me. So I'm running, but being a soccer player, I could really kick the ball, right? So by the time I'm down the field, Buddy catches it.
I try to picture you running. Sorry.
Really? It's only the last 9 years I got fat chili pants.
No,
Well, fucking look, confidence is coming out today, huh?
You just don't
Good Lord,
exercise
fuck.
ever.
Howard, just sit beside me.
She can't wrestle, but you should see her box.
Okay,
Fuck
so you
off.
kick the ball. Sorry, I had
Fuck
to.
off.
It's what we do.
Settle down. Where was I going?
You kicked the ball. You didn't know you were supposed to run.
Yeah, but then I did run, and then I hit him. So as I'm hitting him, I got a bloody nose, and I'm like, "Oh, dude, I'm so sorry." And he goes, "Get the fuck out of here." He was so pissed off that I apologized. I go, "I don't know."
Oh, so Mexico.
Oh,
I'd
okay.
be interested to know. We're going back
We're
to
going back.
Mexico.
We're going back.
It's
We're-
important.
I,
This is
I,
important.
right now, I want to be in Mexico after that.
Okay, let me kind of
Yes.
wrap my head around all this again. Okay, so West Coast Wonder Woman started. This is the 3rd year. But in the meantime, some other all-female cards popped up.
Right.
Because now it's not that it's trendy, but I think that it's people are recognizing that
They can do it.
more girls and women are getting involved in the sport, and so therefore more opportunities are needed to have fights for these girls. And all-female cards seem to be a great way to do it. So one comes up in, where was it? Atlanta. So this time, 2 years ago, I was in Atlanta, and I decided to create a West Coast Wonder Woman travel team, because I didn't want to just pick from people like here that I was training. I wanted to make it open to other females that I've met along the way, and ones that maybe had been training, didn't have opportunities. So I thought, okay, let's make a travel team. So I took 5 girls to Atlanta, a couple of them from Alberta, a couple from northern BC, like just kind of actually it was 6. I threw the team together, and I thought, geez, that really worked. That was pretty cool. So then this year, one of my many trips, I met a guy that used to be a pro boxer, and he works for Al Heyman, is Libredo Andrade. He boxed out of Montreal.
Okay.
Anyways, I met him and instantly hit it off with him. He feels the same way about, giving women an opportunity in the sport. He works for Premier Boxing, which is Al Heyman. And I remember having a conversation with him saying, well, how come Al Heyman hasn't signed any females? I don't know. No female pros are signed by them. Why? I don't know. Right?
Great question.
Right? Why? Why not? Because we're not there yet. Right? So fast forward, I kept in touch with him, and just before the pandemic hit, we had talked, when I was in Atlanta, we had talked about, because he's from a small town in Mexico, but he lives in Vegas. And so he is building a gym there, but he wanted to put on an all-female card, a Canada versus Mexico. And so this all started with this connection of us. And so we had planned to go, but then the pandemic hit. So then we planned, fast forward to this January. So last month we should have been there, but then of course Omicron hit. Yeah. And so now we're going March 26th. Oh. March 26th is the fight, 26th and 27th in Mexico. It's just outside of Mexico City. And I'm taking 16 girls.
From Canada?
From Canada.
All over Western?
From Alberta and BC.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yep. And there's Ava, Lake, Chris, Essie, 4 from Sooke.
That's amazing.
Oh, wow.
4 from Sooke, 1 from Victoria so far. So
Jill
5.
doesn't want to?
So Jill, remember I just told you that this is where she's kind of toying with, do I train for Mexico? Do I not? And so right now she's off the docket.
Okay, yeah.
But
is she into boys now and stuff like
no,
that?
not at all.
Oh, okay.
Nope,
Yeah.
not at all.
I thought 16, like that's what you do.
She wants to go to university.
Good for
She
her.
wants to focus on her education, which
Yeah.
is hey,
Yeah. In which, I'm okay with that.
yeah,
Of course.
absolutely.
But 16 girls going to Mexico.
Wow,
Pretty
cool.
amazing.
And so now, because, it's kind of like you do that and then they'll come back to you. So now the team from Mexico will come to West Coast Wonder Woman, which is
that's
happening
great,
the May
yeah.
long weekend. And
Oh,
that's
right.
beautiful.
Okay.
right?
That's
and
a
see
great
how that
thing.
works.
Yeah,
we went to
yeah.
El Centro, California a couple years ago. They decided to have an all-female card after our first one. We went down there with a team. They're coming.
So explain to me then. Okay, so that's 16. Those are your fighters.
So
Are you a promoter?
maybe
No,
I
I don't.
should be.
No, I don't know. Like, I mean, is that?
I don't know. I just volunteer my time.
Well, no, I understand that,
Yeah.
but like, it just seems to. I've organized lots of things in my life before.
I think she
but
probably has to wear quite a few hats because the
No,
female
I-
boxing is just sort of up and coming.
I would
right?
see. I'm just thinking of it from the business aspect of it, where insurance, this, travel, this. Like, if like, how does all that work? If you're putting cards like this together, and God forbid someone bump their head or
Yeah,
whatever,
so what
how
happens
does
is-
all that work?
yeah.
So, like, for the listeners out there, the parents go, "I think my daughter would love that. Is she protected?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
okay.
a good
so
question.
so exactly. So what happens is I don't just pick females out off the street random.
No.
They're ones that I know that have been boxing. The ones that are brand new, just having their first fight in Mexico, are my fighters. Those are the only ones that are having their first fight.
Right.
With the exception of one other, but I know the coach. Most already have had fights, so they know what they're getting into. They're already part of a club. They have a coach. These coaches trust me to take their fighter. I have to do an international travel permit through Boxing Canada. So Boxing
okay. So that's what I
Canada-
wanted to go.
Yeah, Boxing
there we
Canada
are. Yeah.
knows
Okay.
that we're going.
Right.
So Boxing BC, Boxing Alberta, they know that we're going. So we're all sanctioned to go. So
So
everybody
do boxers have cards like a hockey player has a carded?
It's a book.
You're in the book.
No, every fighter has
Gets
a
a
book.
book.
So it's the record book. So every fight that you have, it's recorded in your blue book.
Oh,
So
I didn't
you-
know that.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
I didn't.
you
Okay.
have to take your blue book wherever, if you're
It's like
fighting.
a passport.
It's a boxing
Boxing
passport.
passport.
Okay.
yeah.
But being that you're under the umbrella of BC Boxing or
And
Boxing Canada,
That's right.
that they already have to pay insurance and they
Right.
fees
So-
to be able to represent.
Right. So when
Okay,
you're
that's what I
yeah,
wanted to know.
When you're
Okay.
a registered fighter,
Yeah.
and a registered athlete, you have to get a medical every year. The medical and your boxing membership has to be put in. You pay your fees, and it goes right to Boxing Canada. And Boxing Canada issues you a new registration number every year, and it goes in your book.
That's great.
Okay. Do they randomly have test concussions? Can they come into any gym and say?
The annual medicals.
So the annual
covers that.
medical-
Well, I just mean like
Yeah.
random testing or is there like in hockey? You know how there's that
protocol, like if they think somebody has a concussion.
Yeah,
is there-
so as a coach, we have to do that, right?
I
we have
see.
to make sure
Okay.
that that's
so
taken care of.
again, selling it to parents.
Right.
Like this is
There's
all.
a lot of
Right.
precautions in
Yeah.
place. Now, here's a question. So, how can the average person support the Sooke Boxing Club? How can they support the athletes going to Mexico? Whether monetary or volunteer time, or I'm just
Yep. So
It's,
we're actually having a bottle drive on the 26th of this month
Okay.
to raise money to go to Mexico because it's not cheap.
Oh wow, cool.
Thanks to Route 14, they provided our competition tops. So
amazing.
Nice.
So Route 14 bought those, and then Unified, it's a training center in Chilliwack. They bought our hoodies.
That's
so one
great.
of their girls is coming with us.
Nice.
And so they sponsored. So well, at least we look like a team.
Yeah.
And then as far as, so we haven't really put out there much sponsorship for the travel team because we kind of, we've had those two kind of take over like for the clothing. And then we'll have a bottle drive for, to cover some of the costs.
Well, we'll put
because
that
Yeah,
I'll put that
absolutely.
on ISN and
Yeah.
Raw and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
And then for West Coast Wonder Woman, all of our girls, so 18 of them, are canvassing different businesses right now looking for a sponsor. So it's $1,000 to sponsor an athlete. You get your company logo on their top. You're mentioned on the live stream. You're in the program. On the swag bags, your logo's there. Like, we pump your logo out everywhere.
Yeah.
And you get a sponsored fighter.
Oh.
Right?
That's
Nice.
great. And so
What do you think
on,
here, Chili
businesses.
Pants? Hang on. Why don't we send you...
You're scaring me now.
No, I'm not to Mexico or nothing. If I can't go to Mexico, you're not going to Mexico. Why don't we kind of do what that Dawn did?
I like my nose, though. I'm just kidding.
What?
I'm just being a smart ass.
Why don't we... you can do a little report here. Why don't we...
You can just come for a session and see
Well,
what it's
you know
like.
what?
That would be fun.
you know,
And we could video that and
well,
put her
we
out
will
there.
video. That's gold. But why don't... Because, you're coming
Why
out
don't
of...
we kind of do it into a lead up to the Wonder Woman event? I think maybe that might be a way if we video
I'd love for you to
some
be in the
stuff.
Wonder Woman event.
No, that's not
We
how
could
to do
dress
that.
you up.
But you know what I mean.
Who,
Then-
me?
But then what we
You know what you
could
should
do is-
Google right now? You should Google Victoria Bacon eating competition.
Oh, yeah, him in his pig suit. But then if we
Tutu.
did that, I'm thinking it
What?
could be twofold because we could promote that and push like sponsorships.
I just
and
want to get
stuff
you out of
that-
the house.
I get out of the house often.
Do
Don't
you?
worry. Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm concerned about your chili pants.
I'm all
I
right.
love you. Okay, well, yeah, I think that we should do that. We should.
Yeah, I just
I think you
anything
should
to
get
try and
Ellen
promote and push the Sooke Boxing Club. I think.
Yeah, we can
it's
do that
been-
on ISN too and stuff like that.
It's
Okay.
everybody in the community knows about the boxing club, and I know that it's people just think it's a great thing, and I definitely think it's a great thing. So let's do what we can for them.
Well, we're
And
gonna
just,
try.
a note here, it's
Yeah.
not just for girls.
No,
because
yes.
we talked a lot
Yeah, we
about
talked
West
about
Coast
women.
Wonder Woman, and we talked about the travel
No.
team.
Yeah.
I do train boys too.
Okay.
Which
How
I
do you
think
think
is
I would do?
important too.
I think you do awesome.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. It
Maybe we should
it would
both do
help
it.
your blood pressure.
It would.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing,
well,
just
I
because,
doubt it.
like, when people are interested, because we've been talking about the kids and stuff. What age groups do you have? Like what's
So
like,
we start training them at 7.
okay, and what like right now, what do you have in the gym for like? Are there some 40-year-olds? Are there some 50-year-olds? Are there some 30-year-olds? Like, do you?
Okay,
do you,
so it's funny because when I put out the registration for West Coast Wonder Woman for May, I get a lot of comments or a lot of messages. Hey, do you have any masters? Do you have any masters? Now, master is 40 over.
Yeah.
And just out of the 18, I have 6 masters.
Oh,
wow,
shit.
that makes me happy. That's
Wow.
wonderful.
6
Cool.
masters, and the oldest being 49.
Wow.
Oh, I love
Getting
that.
into the ring for the very first time.
That is incredible. And
Now,
that's
is that
why
empowering?
Yeah, I love that stuff.
Right?
That
know,
is
I know.
that's a beautiful thing, and that's why I asked the question, because I was hoping I
gotta
want the
quit
listeners
smoking
to hear
first.
about it and just be like, hey, age is not a limit. Look at Kelly Slater.
What the
That's
hell
a
is
perfect
Kelly
example
Slater?
of he just won his pipeline event
Oh,
at
yeah,
50
yeah,
years
yeah,
old.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
age is, we put limits
Yeah.
on age, and that's not necessarily something we should
Let's talk
do.
about Tom Brady.
But we put
Let's-
weight on limits too, right? We put it like,
Absolutely.
oh, I'm too big. What do you mean you're too
Oh,
big?
yeah.
I
Right?
agree. Oh, I agree. Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
there's another
I'll
thing.
start
too.
boxing when I lose weight. What?
No, start before.
I don't understand that.
Yeah,
I gotta quit smoking first.
Well, smoking, okay, I can get behind that one.
that's
Yeah.
okay. I'm on him about that.
Well, it's yeah. I think again for me, I've always had this. When I was younger, I knew every boxer. The middleweights with the Tommy Hearns and the other man. That was some great fights back then.
Always
I
like
knew
the
who the
smaller fights,
heavyweights.
just they fight
You just
differently.
knew who they were. I couldn't tell you today who the heavyweight champ is. I
Well,
don't
because
know.
it's lost. It went through that controversial period where
I don't
the promoters ruined it.
You know, and I interviewed Scotty Olsen and he, he's always one fight away from the big payday, and it's controversial decision and it's this and and I've talked to female boxers, Christy, what's her
Christy Martin?
Martin, yeah, she'll be coming on in a couple weeks, and her story is unbelievable. Holly Dunaway is coming on the show. We're doing a whole week of female boxers, and Holly Dunaway went from boxer to penthouse supermodel or centerfold, and that the transit, and again, all empowering to get into a ring to box as a female, to model naked. It's it's all for the empowerment.
Everybody's empowerment's different too.
It's just pushing the limits, isn't it? But it's boxing has always been one of those things for me where it's always held its integrity, and it's done way more good for people than bad.
I agree.
And every sport has it. More have done more damage than good. Boxing, rugby for me seems to be one of those sports. So, Alan Connor, you just keep doing you because you're awesome. You're amazing, and I love what you're doing. Yeah. Is there? You get the last word. What is it you want to say? Anything you want? Valentine's? Are you dating? What are you doing?
No, good God.
No.
No. Last word, keep your hands up.
I love it.
Oh.
Love it.
What is the perfect punch? Let's end on that.
My favorite punch is the jab. If you don't have a good jab, you don't have anything else. You got to have a good jab.
There you are. Perfect. Well, folks, there's another podcast in the books. Alan Connor, Chris Schill. We're talking boxing. We're talking a lot of things, actually.
A lot of things. It was a great one.
It was a good show. Yeah. Glad you can make this one, Shirley.
Absolutely.
Sooke Boxing Club. Check it out. We'll put all the links in where you can get a hold of Ellen, and you can talk with her about joining or supporting. And with that, that's it. Thanks for listening. Have a good night.